Here's a question. Why is the Supergirl movie already on its third composer? Should we be concerned? Before we get into that, we've also got casting news for the DCU that is going to make a lot of fans very happy. Let's dive in with tonight's episode of Superman Homepage Live. Hello everyone and welcome to Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com, the number one Superman fan site in the world. My name is Steve Eunice, and joining me as always are my two good friends, Michael Bailey. Hello Michael.
Hey Steve.
And Mark Lax. Hello Mark.
Hello gentlemen.
How are we both tonight? Doing well, I hope?
All right.
Very good. Well, tonight is our March 16th, 2026 show, and we're going to be talking about the topics so just mentioned at the top of the show. We'll also be discussing many other things tonight in the world of Superman, but we're also going to turn to you to take your questions and comments on any particular Superman topic you would like to discuss. And to let you know how all that works, here is Michael Bailey with the instructions.
It's really simple. You just go to Superman Homepage.
Always do that. Every time you miss a show, Michael, it stuffs me around.
It's not my fault.
There you go.
There we go. Anyways, go to supermanhomepage.com/live and press the call now button, or you can scan the QR code that is next to me. If you are watching the show through your desktop or laptop and you're using an external speaker and you do get on the show, please mute that because we're on a bit of a delay and that can screw things up. If you are using your smartphone, which is fine, I mean, it works. We've seen it. Just don't use your speakerphone because that crackles. I've noticed this is mainly on iPhones because the speakerphone on modern iPhones is terrible, just in general.
There you go. That's Michael's review for the moment. Red 6 Down on YouTube asking us if we're secretly run by Snyder Cult. Obviously hasn't watched this show before. Definitely not.
What?
Maybe the title about Supergirl being in
man.
trouble. I think maybe that's where they think we're coming from. But it's captured your attention, and I'm glad you have caught on because we are going to be discussing why Supergirl is into her third composer, not why we think it's in trouble any other way. But we're going to get into all that in a second. Jumping the gun. If you're a little bit shy and you don't want to get on the phone, as Michael has just indicated, then you can feel free to participate in the comments, just like we've indicated. Red 6 Down, Clauderain, Bizarro, CD, Cyril, who else? Wondersea, Stephanie, so many others are in the chat right now, whether on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram. Michael, Mark, and I can see your comments, react to any questions you might have as the show goes on. But if you're on YouTube and you would like your comment or question featured on the screen during the show, that is called a super chat. All you have to do is click the dollar symbol there on your screen on YouTube. A slider will appear. You decide on the dollar amount you're willing to donate, and we will feature your comment or question live on the screen as we go along tonight. There are also super stickers and super thanks if you want to give those a try. And thank you to our sponsors and patrons, our Superman Homepage champions. Thank you to Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, Tina Murray, and Rick and Tanya Schutzau. We really appreciate your support. You keep this show free for everyone. And if you'd like to join those folks and have your name read out at the beginning and end of every Superman Homepage Live episode, then simply click the join button below on YouTube. There are different levels of membership with different levels of perks, one of them being a Superman Homepage champion. You can also go to patreon.com/Superman Homepage. Now, as for my background tonight, I usually have a green screen behind me, and then I put up an image of whatever's kind of current or relevant for tonight's show. But I'm wearing a green shirt for St. Patrick's Day this week, and that made me a floating head when I put up the green screen. So I tried to put a blue one behind me and see if that would work, but nevertheless, that didn't work out. So I wasn't going to pull it down and go through all that rigmarole, so I just left it behind me. So that answers your question if you had that in your mind about what's going on with Steve's shower scene tonight.
I
All
mean,
good.
it's not too bad.
No.
It's
Yeah,
gray.
it looks fine.
Yeah, not blue enough for the blue screen feature on this software. All right, well, let's push on with tonight's episode discussions. And first off, we'll start with the Superman movie sequel news, and that is obviously Man of Tomorrow. And we got confirmation this week that Aaron Pierre, who is playing John Stewart in the upcoming Lanterns TV series, will reprise that role when he appears in Man of Tomorrow in 2027 as Green Lantern John Stewart, which is great news. It's good to see the cast expanding into that area because obviously we already had Guy Gardner as Green Lantern in Superman, and having John Stewart appear just kind of expands the DCU a little bit there.
Yeah, I'm bracing myself for the you're overstuffing this, and it's not going to be a Superman film now. Uh, complaints that are no doubt filling the internet right now. But what do I know? Apparently, I'm a Snyder cultist. I was not aware of this fact before we started this show tonight. So I guess I'm going to have to reevaluate my life from DNA until this afternoon. No, this is one of those bits of news that it's just like you can't really say too much about because we don't know much about the film. It's just like, hey, Jon Stewart's going to be in it. Hopefully, this will somewhat explain the line from the trailer from Lanterns of that there's no other human Green Lanterns. It's just like, okay, what about Guy Gardner? Because he kind of looks like a Green Lantern. So maybe maybe Hal just really hates Guy and he doesn't want to acknowledge him. But no, it's great. I mean, if you're gonna do a Brainiac invasion story, the complaint of the Marvel films, for example, after the Avengers, is just like, well, why is Cap doing this all alone? Why doesn't he call in the Avengers? And longtime comic book readers are like, because it's Captain America's title. You don't have them. Gunn seems to like to mix and match and have as many different characters from the universe in his projects as possible. And Superman is kind of built for that. So yeah, this is cool.
Yeah, and a few comments in the chat, people saying that I'm more green than what we've seen in the Green Lantern trailer. I even saw Grant Morrison come out and have a comment about that. I do believe that there's something in regards to that it's kind of lost its luster because of what's happened. So it's almost like a story element that it's not necessarily that green, but I don't know. I haven't really gone too much into
but
it.
That's not what he's addressing, though.
Okay.
What Morrison was addressing specifically is that Damon Lindelof, who is the executive producer of the show, came out some time ago in an interview and said that it's called Lanterns because everybody got together and decided that Green Lantern sounded stupid. And what Morrison was talking about, which is something that I fully agree with, is that if that is your position, you should not be doing this. Because the idea of the Green Lantern is something from the comics, and it's not what Morrison said, but it's what I extrapolate from it. It's what I've been saying. It's like Batman. Look, if you're looking at a dude dressed as a bat fighting crime and you're wanting it to be deep, dark, and serious and realistic, then you're looking in the wrong place because it's a guy dressed as a bat fighting crime. So there is nowhere in the universe or the multiverse that is serious. And Morrison's point is that if you're going to adapt these things, adapt these things. And if you think it's silly, then you're not right for the job. And it was a really good little the quote that I read. I was just like, preach on, brother. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail us on that.
No, that's good.
No,
it's clarified that because that's been comments that are going on into the in the comments there, so we address them as they happen. And as John Patrick Van Pelt in the comments says, Lanterns premieres on HBO Max later this year in August. So, Mark, your thoughts on this topic?
Well, first on Jon Stewart. I mean, Jon Stewart's been, very prevalent in both the comics and the animated, in Justice League, the Justice League animated series and Justice League United and all of
Unlimited.
that. He, what did I say?
You said United. I think it's Unlimited.
Unlimited. Excuse me. I did watch the show. I promise. Um, and he's just, in the comics and all that. So you would. I was hoping. I mean, I loved Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, and I certainly wouldn't be opposed to him making another appearance. But John Stewart's been one of my favorite Green Lanterns since I've been young. In fact, one of the first Green Lantern books I read, he became Green Lantern. So, or a Green Lantern anyway. So, no, I'm glad he's going to be a part of this. How big a part he's going to play, I don't know. Um, and as far as the series goes, yeah, I mean, come on, it's Green Lanterns. You can't say Green Lanterns, really.
Yeah. If you're
I
embarrassed
mean,
by it,
it's
then you shouldn't be adapting it, as Michael
I
was
don't
saying.
I don't understand it. I don't understand the thinking that goes into some of this.
And I get that the idea behind this show is just like, okay, we're going to have the Green Lanterns, but we're going to treat it like True Detective. And, on one hand, I'm like, well, that's an interesting way of approaching the material. It's completely different from the Ryan Reynolds film from, brace yourself, guys, 15 years ago.
Crazy.
Uh, and so, again, you take these things as they are. And so the show, Lindelof's comments and the concept of the show are two different things in my head, because if you're saying, okay, we're dealing with the Green Lantern Corps, but we're going to be dealing with it as like a gritty detective things where two guys are basically going into this town and dealing with some kind of problem, then that's interesting. The F bombs were unnecessary, but I just think that in general.
Mm.
But if you're doing that because you think the source material is stupid, then that is a different and more systemic problem, and kind of flies in the, again, it flies in the last year we went through this whole thing of hope is important and embrace the comics and all that. And it's just like, so our Green Lanterns thing is going to go completely 180 degrees away from that, along with our Supergirl thing. So 2025 was the year of hope. This is the year of cynicism, which, given how things are going, I actually can buy that.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. As for what other casts will be, what other heroes will be in Man of Tomorrow, we believe that many of the original cast for Superman are back, including obviously Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane, Skylar Gazondo as Jimmy Olsen, Sarah Sampaio as Eve Tessmacher, Isabella Merced is coming back as Hawkgirl, and Maria Gabriela De Faria is back as the Engineer, and obviously we've got Lex Luthor as well. But so yeah, it'll be interesting to see just how big a cast the movie has, and what kind of, how big a role those extra characters play beyond just Lex and Superman. So we'll wait and see, but it's yeah, it'll be interesting to see just how Lanterns is received when it comes out later this year, and then we'll be looking with interest to see how John Stewart appears in Man of Tomorrow. All right, still on the Superman movie side of things, we got to see some unused Superman movie poster designs this week, which were quite interesting to see. I understand what they ended up going with when they decided to do the ones that they did, which have obviously a theme that went throughout them. But I didn't mind these designs. They're quite colourful, and they stand out, and each one is obviously designed with the color scheme in mind for the character that they're portraying. What did you guys think?
Outside of the look at my crotch Superman poster, I kind of like them. The lowest one is interesting because it's just like, hey, I'm just having some coffee.
Well, I mean, she puts a lot of
Mr.
sugar in those
Terrific,
coffees.
Mr. Terrific looks like he's doing like magic at a kid's birthday party.
Mm.
A little bit. No, they're neat. I'm kind of glad they went with what they went, like you said, Steve, because giving them a more uniform look gave the film a more unified feeling. Like this is all from the same film on like a subconscious level. But they're fine. They're perfectly serviceable.
Yeah, they're not too bad. I don't have any problems with it. Again, what they went with was better. But I don't think there would have been too many problems, if they went with these. I don't think we'd be complaining too much about it.
You know what? They almost look like trading cards. Like they would be good as trading cards.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
They
like a
should
Topps
use them
trading
for.
card set. That is literally what they, Steve, you are 100% correct. That is literally what they look like. If this had gotten a trading card set, like the Lois Lane in particular looks like a 90s trading card.
Yeah, like it's
With
the gold foil one,
exactly.
the chase card version.
But no, maybe that's why they didn't go with them, because somebody in the room was like, "These look like trading cards, not posters," and they're like, "Yeah, let's go with something else."
Maybe we'll still see a
No mutant
trading
toes
card set.
poster. Good.
No mutant toes
Come on,
posters.
Seth.
Good, nice one. Okay, well, yeah, we were interested to see those, but I think they were by artist Brandon Moat. So congratulations on him on releasing those anyway, so that we got to see some of the alternative designs that they were contemplating. All right, so now back to the headline story that I mentioned at the top of the show in regards to Supergirl. So a couple of weeks back, we mentioned that Junkie XL, aka Tom Holkenborg, was in as the composer, having replaced Raman Djawadi, who was the original composer that was announced. Now we're finding out that Junkie XL, Tom Holkenborg, is out, and Saudi San is now set to compose a score. What is going on here? Why are they chopping and changing? And is this concerning? I know composers come and, we did it with Superman. We had a second composer come in to help out. But, it's not that late in the game, really, because we've still got till June. But I'm surprised.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I think we got really spoiled with how organized Gunn was with the Superman film. Like, he had the score done before they started filming, or at least a version of the score, so that they could have that on set. And it's like one of those things. If they were announcing that they were doing like a bunch of reshoots and such, that would be where I'd be like, oh, is this film kind of in trouble? Are they having second thoughts about things? But if it's about the music, then music is very important to the film. But I think that's kind of the key there, is that if the original, I forget the name of the original composer, so I do apologize.
Raman
But
Djawadi.
yeah, they announce, didn't he do the Iron Man? I think he did Iron Man. The first Iron Man film. I'd have to look at that. I'm sorry.
No, you
Okay,
could be right. I can't remember what we had him listed as having done.
It was an incredibly long day at work, so I'm a little fried right now. But and then they announced Junkie XL, and I was just like, oh, that's interesting. He was very associated with the Snyder universe, doing the BVS score, and then the score to the Zack Snyder Justice League. So I'm like, okay, that's interesting that they're willing to bring people in for that. And then it's just like a week later, it's just like, nope, we're going with somebody else. Now, did Junkie XL have to step out for some reason? I mean, we don't know the whole thing. I don't think it's a sign that the film's in trouble. I think it's just that they want a certain tone for the film, and maybe Junkie XL wasn't providing that.
Yeah, I have heard, Mark, that there have been some test screenings. Now, you always take these stories with a grain of salt as to what truth there is to them. I mean, I've heard like it's an hour and 45 minutes without the credits. I've heard that it's been received quite positively. And you wonder, just if there have been test screenings, what score was associated with the test screening, if any at all, because if they're still got someone just now who's jumped in and they've got a couple of months to go, then how quickly can they work?
Well, is it possible? I guess during these test screenings, they heard the score and it was not favorable, and so they decided to bring somebody else in. Again, like Mike said, we don't know. Chunky XL could have stepped down, or who knows what happened. But I think they are trying to set a certain tone for this movie. This movie is, look, if you go by the trailer, it's got a darker sense of humor, but there's also there's also the story about her escaping Krypton, and it's got a also darker tone as far as being bounty hunters and Lobo and all that. So they're probably want to set a certain tone, and maybe they're just not able to. I don't know, fit it, just get the fit that they want, and maybe they're just finally said, all right, look, let's just get somebody else in. Let's do this. I mean, look, if we hear there's another person that comes in, then I think there is a problem going on. Then there's definitely a problem going on.
Third time's a
But if they
charm.
stick with this person, like you said, we have what, 3 months? How many
Mm.
months do we have?
March,
About
April, May. Yeah, 3 months.
about 3 months. If they stick with this person, they get the tone, then it should be cool. And I'm not that worried about it. But if somebody else comes in, then there's a problem, I think.
Mr. Matlock, which is John Patrick Van Pelt, saying, "Do you think this is part of the Superman curse?" There is no Superman curse. It's a
There is no
fallacy.
person.
It's rubbish. But look, the thing is, we live in a day and age of the internet where these kinds of things come to light, where there are probably movies that we don't follow that have composers changing all the time, but because we're following these movies as closely as we are, we're seeing these things change. And because we have access to information, where they update the composer listings on the websites and things like that for the credits, that we're aware of them. But otherwise, I don't think many of us would be that concerned or even knowledgeable about who is doing the score to any other movie if it wasn't a Superman or Supergirl movie. So yeah, and a lot of the movie could be pop songs, like you've got the Blondie song in there for the trailer. So it could well and truly be that there's just some of the other elements, like you said, Mark, of the demise of Krypton and stuff like that, and the action sequences where they need some a particular type of tone, and maybe the ones that they had either weren't coming the way they wanted to, coming out the way they wanted to, or those composers were inundated with other work and couldn't allocate the time required. Who knows what the situations are behind the scenes? But as I said, if we weren't on top of these details as quickly as we are today, it probably wouldn't have been. It would be a non-issue for many fans. There'd be fans out there who are going to see this film who aren't even aware of who the composer is, and when they come out of the movie, they still won't know who the composer was because it's not an issue for them.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is true.
I think people just like to grouse and grumble, or apparently assume that just because we're talking about it, we're Snyder cultists. So, that's now a new thing.
It's called capturing your attention with a headline. Journalists have been doing it for years. All right. Let's put that aside, see what happens. Keep an eye on that for you folks. But I don't think it's a concern because there are still 3 months, as we said, and they may have a particular theme in mind. And you got to remember, with the Superman, with James Gunn's Superman in 2025, they had the John Williams theme that they knew that they were already going to be working from. They just had to modernize it and put their spin on it and what have you, and then go from there. Where with the Supergirl film, I doubt very highly that they'll be using any of the 1984 Supergirl movie themes to update to this for this one. So they're probably starting from scratch with a clean slate, and therefore that obviously slows the process down or makes it more challenging in so many ways, because you're starting with a blank cursor on the screen rather than a foundation to work from. All right.
I don't know. Jerry Goldsmith kicked out a pretty good theme there. They may be looking back at that, thinking they should use it.
They could throw it in
Yeah,
as
no,
a kind of
not at all.
as a nod, but I doubt it. It would be funny if we heard it, and I wonder how many people would catch it.
Mm.
All right, still on the Supergirl topic, Millie Alcock appeared as she graces the cover of a new photo shoot and in-depth interview with the Beyond Noise magazine, issue number 5. Here is the cover for that, if you're interested. So it's an interview with her alongside screenwriter Anna Nagira, who obviously wrote the screenplay for the upcoming Supergirl movie. based on the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow comic book saga. In the interview, Millie Alcock is quoted as saying that I think young girls should walk away from the film knowing that it's okay to be a bit bad and messy. Thoughts on that topic? I've heard a few people being very negative about what she said there.
I think that goes into uh, kind of just general systemic misogyny to a large extent. I was thinking about this today because I figured we'd be talking about it, so I might as well, put some thought into what I'm going to say before I say it. And I was just like, on one hand, I'm not really into this take on Supergirl, but on the other hand, that's just because it's not what I want to see personally, and I had to kind of unpack that. And what I kind of came to the conclusion of is that if this were a male character, if they were wanting to do this with Superman or just any other male hero, there would be a automatic acceptance just in general because it's
Very
a guy,
true. Yep.
and that's just in general. So why can't women do the same thing? And that's just because we put women in these roles that society puts them in. That it's just like, no, they can't do that. So I like that this is her attitude towards it, even though it's not a take I want to see. I know that sounds weird and probably at cross purposes, but it's just how I feel.
No, I understand.
Yeah, I mean, it's yeah, I don't have much more to say on that. I mean, saying it's okay to be a bit bad and messy. Well, why not? Why not be? Basically, I think she's saying, be who you are and don't let other people, you know, trip you up. Just be who you are. It's okay to be. You don't have to look like the most beautiful girl in the world. You don't have to be this. Just be who you are, and that's what I get from what she said.
Yeah, it's okay to be imperfect and to not have it all together
Right.
all the time. And I think that's reality based. When she says bad and messy, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be a criminal or a villain. It just means that it's okay to not always be perfect and pristine 100% of the time, because that is a fact of life. And I think that's setting a very reasonable tone and aspiration for young women to, say, look, young girls, because society, especially social media, tells them that they've got to be this, idyllic thing that is not reality and is unattainable.
Yes,
So,
and now you also have this other side of that we have to be look maxing, which I just don't understand the language anymore. I really don't.
Huh?
I'm like, yeah,
Getting-
Mark and I are going, what are you talking about?
What?
yeah,
Max?
don't look too deeply into it,
Okay.
guys.
Okay,
There's
I
there's a
won't.
lot going on.
Yes, difficult times for the young people of today. They've got so much pressure on how to look and act and all these kinds of things. So you can tell that none of us are look maxing, whatever that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so we are at around the halfway mark of tonight's episode. Before we take our break, just one other new movie news item that we want to bring to your attention, and that is if you are in Toronto, Canada, the Review Cinema is bringing a piece of Superman history to the big screen this month. As of this coming Friday, March 20th at 6:30 p.m., you can watch a special screening of the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2. So Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut, will be screening at the Review Cinema in Toronto, Canada this Friday, March 20th at 6:30 p.m. And it's a part of the Superhero Holiday Series family-friendly event that offers people a chance to see a movie maybe that they haven't seen on the big screen, a version of the film that they haven't seen on the big screen. So if you're interested and you're in Toronto, Canada, that may be something you want to check out. So there you have it. All right. Have either of you seen Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut on the big screen?
Not on the big screen.
No.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
have no desire to either.
fair enough.
No,
Actually,
it would be interesting to see that on the big screen because I mean, a lot of it, is the what do you call it? Not rehearsal.
yeah, the screen tests.
Screen tests, exactly. Screen tests and other things put in. So that would be odd to see on the big screen.
Yeah,
But
it is. It is a bit jarring when those scenes come on, but I have seen it on the big screen. They did a special screening out here with Sarah Douglas and Mark McClure as special guests. So we watched it with them, and I took my uncle to see that film because when I was 8, he took me and some nieces and nephews to see the original version of Superman 2 on the big screen. So it was kind of like a full circle moment for me. So he'd never seen it at all. So yep. If you get an opportunity, it's something to add to your bucket list of things to do. All right, we are at the halfway point. As I said, we're going to take a quick break, play some messages, come back on the flip side to do the fan favorite segment, This Week in History, and we've got our fan focus segment as well this week. So we'll be back right after these messages.
We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
If you're enjoying Superman Homepage Live, then please like and share this video with your family and friends. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, then you can click on the bell to receive notifications whenever we post a new video. You can also join our YouTube membership program, just click the join button below. Or you can become a patron and support our website by going to patreon.com/Superman Homepage.
Nearly 90 years of history, but how do you map the entire expansive mythology of this dynamic cultural phenomenon? Introducing Man of Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow. The chronological framework navigates Superman's history month by month. Discover the individuals who shaped the icon, the date of Krypton's tragic destruction, and the day the nation mourns Superman's death. Explore epic milestones, from the groundbreaking radio debut to Richard Donner's cinematic masterpiece that launched an entire era. This is more than a catalog of dates. It's a roadmap to understanding how myths evolve and continue to shape the world. Go to Amazon to get your copy today.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. No, it's SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. SupermanHomepage.com, covering the world of Superman from the 1930s to today. News, reviews, rumors, and reports. SupermanHomepage.com for all your Superman comics, TV shows, movies, cartoons, radio shows, and more. Everything you ever wanted to know about the Man of Steel and more. SupermanHomepage.com.
Thanks, Superman Homepage, for all the support over the years. I really appreciate it.
I'm Matt Bomer. I'm the voice of Superman in Superman Unbound, and this is the Superman Homepage.
Right here on Superman Homepage.
SupermanHomepage.com? All right.
Hey, this is Christopher Gorham. On the Superman Homepage.
Hey, this is Sam Whitwer, and you're watching Superman Homepage.
As the airline that flies to more countries than any other, Turkish Airlines is pleased to announce a new destination, Metropolis. A city reborn, rebuilt, and stronger than ever. Proud of its heritage and its heroes.
Well, thanks to LexCorp's substantial contribution, Metropolis is now open for business again.
Come visit the city of tomorrow. Today.
We can't wait to welcome you.
Book your flight now on Turkish Airlines.
And we're back on Superman Homepage Live, where, as we said, if you want to be part of our show tonight, you can call in for a question, supermanhomepage.com/live. But we're going to now move into the fan favorite segment of our show. Someone's spreading lies about you in the comments, Michael Bailey. Sith Happen says that you're not a
Yeah,
Snyder
yeah. I'm going to
cultist.
address that during. Go ahead and read it. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
it's okay.
interrupting
You actually, there is a time to address that because in Superman in History, this week in history, sorry, that will come. We'll see that. So we'll leave people hanging for that one. But let's move into the fan favorite segment for this week. And our question
I'm
from
getting cold.
You are. Our fan favorite question from last week was, which is your favorite animated version of the Daily Planet? And we had quite a few people respond to this one. Michael, who was up first?
Wonder wrote, and I follow Wonder on TikTok, so I can almost hear his voice when he reads. I'm not going to try an impression, but I'm just saying that that's a thing. Wonder wrote, my favorite exterior of animated Daily Planets are from Superman the Animated Series and the Fleischer cartoons. The globes are iconic and unforgettable, and I feel like the 90s animated series Daily Planet's unique shape and architecture are unforgettable and very Art Deco, in my opinion.
Very good. Thank you, Wonder.
And J.P. Rocher wrote, my favorite version of the Daily Planet is from the Fleischer cartoon, the Art Deco building that established Metropolis aesthetic to this day.
Thank you, JP. Next up, we had John Patrick Van Pelt, who said, my favorite exterior of the Daily Planet has to be the one from Superman the Animated Series and more recently on My Adventures with Superman, in which those have to be my two top favorites. Thank you very much, John.
Ryan Ignatius Pratt wrote, admittedly, I never gave much thought about the look of the Daily Planet in the various animated Superman series over the years. I'm with you on that one, Ryan. I'd never really thought about that before. As I look at those on the Fleischer cartoon, Superman the Animated Series, and My Adventures with Superman, I think they all look excellent. That said, if I must pick one as my favorite, I would probably select the Daily Planet building from Superman the Animated Series, given the classic and retro yet arguably timeless look to it.
Thank you, Ryan.
And Celeste Sims wrote, my favorite animated version of the Daily Planet is the one from Superman the Animated Series. It is vibrant, colorful, and creative.
There you go. Well, I think we've got a clear winner in Superman the Animated Series with the Fleischer cartoons as a close second, but they both have that Art Deco kind of timeless feel to it with the Daily Planet globe atop the building. So thank you so much to Wonder, JP, John Patrick Van Pelt, Ryan, and Celeste for sending in their answers to this fan favorite question. Do either of you guys have a favorite animated version of the Daily Planet? I know, Michael, you just said you didn't really give it much thought, but...
Yeah, I guess Superman the Animated Series. I mean, if I had to pick one...
Yeah, I echo the sentiment of both the Fleischer and Superman the Animated Series.
Yeah,
I would say those two.
I would agree with both of those. So thank you, everyone, for sending in your answers to that fan favorite question. Our new fan favorite question for this week is still on the animated series kind of idea. Which is your favorite animated version of the Fortress of Solitude? There's kind of slim pickings there, but it might be some interesting answers to get from our fans. If you want to send in your answers to this question, the email address to send your answers to is info@supermanhomepage.com. That's info@supermanhomepage.com to let us know which animated version of the Fortress of Solitude is your favorite. And that can be interior or exterior because, as I said, not that many to choose from, but it should be interesting to see what responses we receive. All right, let's move on now to This Week in History.
Come with me now, my son, as we break through the bonds of your earthly confinement, traveling through time and space.
We're really light on the early part of this, with starting at 1966 with Superman number 186. I was rather surprised that they allowed a seance on the cover of a comic in the 60s, given the comics code was still a thing. We're jumping ahead to
spiritualism in that time. You know, it was really a thing that people did.
You know, the moon was in the seventh sun and Jupiter was in line with Mars. 1976, we got Superboy featuring the Legion of Superheroes, though they are slowly getting closer to taking over the title. I have no idea what's going on in this cover, and I really have no interest in finding out. Jumping ahead to 1996, we have Action Comics number 721. This is leading into, I think, Steve's favorite issue of Superman, the Man of Steel, when we talk about that in a week or two, with number 75 coming out, because it's a good issue. No, wait, sorry, it wasn't. Never mind. Anyways, your favorite characters coming up, Steve. Okay. 2006. We've got a really weird bag of comics for this one. We have the Infinite Crisis Secret Files 2006 number 1. This was telling us how certain events from Infinite Crisis came about. And in reading the back matter of one of the Infinite Crisis hardcovers, I don't think any of this was Jeff Johns' idea. Because he didn't seem to be too happy with a certain punching of reality. JLA Classified number 18 came out. This is continuing the Gail Simone, Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, praise to be his name, storyline. Majestic number 15, which I'm including because it is somewhat associated with Superman at this point. Superman number 650, kicking off the 1 year later storyline, where Superman is powerless and looking at a flip phone. So nothing dates comic book cover quite like that. We also have Superman Shazam First Thunder number 4. I'm going to be honest with you guys. This has one of my favorite Superman moments ever. Because at the end of the story, he finds out that Captain Marvel is just a little kid. And he's like... the wizard Shazam is trying to explain to Superman, and Superman just keeps yelling at him. It's great. It's amazing. We also have Teen Titans Annual number 1. This makes me squidgy. I don't think they should have done what they did in this issue. In all honesty, these are teenagers, for crying out loud. But still, very on point for DC and the comic book industry in the mid 2000s. Jumping ahead to 2016, we have Injustice: Gods Among Us Year 5, number 6, which continues to be the longest of the titles that I read on these things. If you look at the top at the banner, Batman v Superman was coming out. We have Superman number 50, which is getting deeper into the Savage Jawed, what's that flower you have on storyline. We also have Superman Wonder Woman number 27, which is also part of that storyline. We have Superman Alien number 5, which continues to be terrible, despite what people in the chat would have you believe. I do not like this series at all. And I'm very glad that the writer of this series is no longer going to be writing a G.I. Joe movie. So that made me happy to read today. And we also have Superman, The Coming of the Superman, which is still a terrible title for a story. But this is the second issue where Calabac... I don't know what's going on this cover, guys, and I don't think we should look too deeply into it. Jumping to the real world, speaking of Zack Snyder's Justice League, March 18th is the anniversary, the 5-year anniversary of the premiere on HBO Max. And Steve has decided to use the Justice is Gray version, apparently, which I thought was a stupid idea. March 21st, we are celebrating... Zack Snyder's
Justice League. It doesn't say anything about Justice is Gray. The movie was... Yeah, okay, it wasn't in black and white.
Yeah, the image.
All the promos
I'm not, yeah, well, that's just...
That's Snyder.
Wait, I'm wrong. We have to say how great this movie is, because we're Snyder cultists.
Interestingly, he's been promoting like day by day on his Instagram account the countdown to the 5-year anniversary, which has the Snyder Bros really excited about what is he counting down to, other than the 5th anniversary. But
yeah, and if you started watching, and to be fair, if you started watching this at midnight on March 18th of 2021, you would still be watching it today.
Yes.
If you kept up with it, because my God in heaven, it was that thing long. Is that a 2-part comic book I don't know what Mr. Matlock's asking about. I'm sorry. But March 21st is the anniversary of Krypton premiering on Sci-Fi. And I'm reminded of this every year because my memories on Facebook talk about the fact that I was doing a little trivia thing every night that was leading up to this.
Yes.
Which is why later that year I got a giant box full of little power banks and T-shirts, and I had like 5 copies of that World of Krypton trade that I gave out at conventions because I clocked in at like second or third a couple different times. So, but that is this week in history, and I am still mad that somebody would say out loud that I liked American Alien. I'm not going to get over that anytime soon.
It's a lie, damn lie. Wonder see in the comments says, was it not originally grey? That's the thing. It was so drab that it felt like it was black and white the whole time.
Yeah, you're right. Even in color,
it was the thing about it was that it was in a like pan and what's that? It wasn't in a 16:9.
No, it was in for like IMAX, so it was like a 4:3.
Yeah, so you had the black boxes on the side of your TV screen when you were watching it, and I was like, "What's going on with the aspect ratio of this movie? Why can't I get it to?" But that's the way it was intended. But then they came out with a Justice's Grey version, which was all in black and white. It was in completely black and white.
And it just like why. The thing that I didn't understand about that is that we have characters that are, by their very nature, colorful. Superman is blue. I mean, Batman's black and gray, but Wonder Woman's blue and gold and red. Flash is red. Cyborg's all shiny and metallic. Superman, well, he's supposed to be in that movie. He was in a black costume because, Zack Snyder. But it just seems like. It just seems so. What I'm trying to say, I'll get a sentence out at some point because I'm just so flustered about this. This isn't your passion project. This isn't a mini series that you're putting out to give like a different version of the Justice League. This is the first time the Justice League was going to be on the big screen, and your idea was to make it black and white. That is just so pretentious.
There you go. That's Michael's rant for the day. All right, so was waiting for Michael Marino, who was supposed to be our fan focus today. We had scheduled it with him. He called in last week for a brief moment, and we said, we had a quick chat to him about something else, but Michael has not called in tonight. So as a without notice kind of thing, let's do it with you, Mark. Let's ask you your background. Yeah, about your journey with Superman. First and foremost, you've obviously been a part of this show for a really long time now. First, as a guest caller, you'd call in from time to time, and then you became a regular.
Time.
Yeah, week to week.
Time. That I call every week. We were concerned when he didn't call in.
That's right. It was like, is Mark okay? Yeah. Where is he this week? How did you
become a reviewer?
Yeah, that's right. How did you become a Superman fan in the first place? What first got you into the character?
I'd have to say, honestly, probably The Adventures of Superman with George Reeves.
Okay.
I'd have to say watching that and the Super Friends. Those are that was my gateway. And then, of course, then Christopher Reeve. And that was, after that, forget it. I mean, Superman was just, the bomb forever after that. But, I got into comics a lot later than a lot of people, they're 5 years old, 6 years old. I did read it when I was little. I read some comics, but I didn't really start to, I guess, collect comics until I was about maybe around 11 or 12. And that's when I really, started getting into, I got into Batman 2 and all that, but Superman was always number one.
Very cool. So I'll go for the second question then. Why do you think Superman continues to be important to you all these years later? And, as a grown man, why is he still important to you?
Because now we all say, oh, it's about hope and all of that, and that's absolutely true. But I just think, he was just, to me, the main hero. He was always, I always knew as a kid he was the very first. And, through all his incarnations, it always stayed with me that he was just the first and the best. And just, watching him from the champion of the oppressed to the silly Silver Age, to, well, I love the Bronze Age, but through the Bronze Age and John Byrne and et cetera, it's just, each version has always spoken to me in some way. And to this day, while the Superman I'm reading now, I very much enjoy, he's not quite the Superman that was my Superman, but it still resonates with me. No matter what version, there's always something about it that, resonates with me all these years later.
Very cool. So what's your most cherished Superman collectible? Or if you don't have that much in your collection, what's your most cherished Superman memory?
Well, I would say memory probably was seeing Superman the movie for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
When it came, right after it came out. Actually, it's funny because it came out in 1978 and around Christmas time. And my father, was not the one who wants to go to movies with crowds and all that. So we waited till like January or something. And we went to see like January 1979. And we went to see it on, it was on the big screen, and it was just, it just blew me away.
How old were you?
Absolutely blew me away. I was 9.
Oh, yeah, cool.
I was 9. Yeah.
Very good. And I know you don't have, I would know that sadly your mother passed away in recent times, but what does your family or friends in general think about your fascination with Superman?
Oh, they've always been supportive. My family were always very, very supportive. Both my parents collected comics when they were kids, and my father very much was a big Superman fan, especially with George Reeves and all of that. So they were always very supportive. My friends have always also been very supportive, understanding my obsession and all of that. And, even my sister, she loves that I'm doing this and that I'm doing reviews and all that kind of stuff. So, I've gotten great support from my family and my friends.
Very cool. Michael, is there anything you wanted to ask of Mark before we wrap that up?
Man, you put me on the spot there.
I just thought maybe you were thinking of something.
It's okay. All right.
I just, so here's the thing. What made you first call into the show? In all honesty, what spurred you to like I want to get involved with this?
As a kid, none of my friends were into comics. None of them were into comics. To this day, they're not really into comics, the movies and all that kind of stuff. But so I had no one to talk to about my, some of the people in the comic book store, whatever, but I never had anyone to talk to about it. And then I discovered the, all the podcasts, and I started, Michael, listening to you and Jeffrey, and listening to everyone, and not just Superman, and then I discovered the Superman homepage, and I'm like, oh my God, finally people who know what I'm going through, that I could talk to, that I could speak with. And that's why I called in.
Excellent. I love that. Thank you so much, Mark. We're on the spot without notice. We kind of put you on the spot there, but they're always great answers to hear. And thank you so much for sharing that and being open to doing that. So that was really cool. And
absolutely. No problem.
Very cool. All right, well, let's push on with some of the other topics that we have on the agenda tonight. And want to look at some of the Fan Expo things that are going on in the world of Superman in the coming weeks. We've got Fan Expo, just bring up the graphic there. So Fan Expo Toronto has a couple of Superman comic book exclusives that fans can go on the hunt for this year. The first one is the Justice League, the New Frontier Special #1 Toronto edition, a city-specific variant featuring cover art by Anthony Marquez, which is priced at $20. It's a newspaper-style cover, which channels the classic Daily Planet energy, bringing Superman and Batman tearing through a Gotham cityscape. So that's the first one. The other one might interest you, Michael, and that is a Superman #75 facsimile edition with new cover art by Enid Ballum, priced at $30. This is a fresh reimagining of the iconic Death of Superman issue, depicting the Man of Steel's brutal final showdown with Doomsday.
It's just like, it looks like Doomsday is looking at the camera like, what?
Yeah.
What? You got a problem? Do we got a beef now? What?
Very cool. So, they're both exclusives available while supplies last at Fan Expo Toronto, which runs March 20th to March 22nd, 22nd at the Metro Toronto Convention Centre. So if you're attending, be on the lookout for those. Now, while we're also speaking about fan expos, the one in Cleveland in Illinois is, bring up the graphic for that. They are holding a Superman cosplay meetup. So if you're rocking the classic red and blue cape, the brooding black suit, or any multiverse variant of Superman's costume, then the Cleveland Fan Expo wants you to join in. The meetup is taking place. It took place on March 14th. So it was last weekend. Sorry about that, folks. If you were part of it, we'd love to hear about your involvement in this Superman cosplay meetup, which took place on March 14th outside the Siegel and Schuster Superman Plaza. So that was at the Huntington Convention Center. If you're part of that, send us some photos. We'd love to see some of the Superman cosplay that took place at that Superman meetup event. That would have been a pretty cool photo opportunity, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Have either of you ever dressed up?
I love how people
Superman
just
cosplay?
keep trying to. I love. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, Steve.
No,
but
go
I
for
love
it.
how people keep trying to set new records with these things. I think that's just a really cool idea.
Have either of you dressed up Superman cosplay? Maybe when you were 7.
Yeah, like I could send you
Halloween
a picture right now of me in my Superman PJs with my little cape on when I was 5.
Oh, I thought you meant from last night.
No, no, you're not going to ever get those pictures. That's for my OnlyFans. So it's very specific. Do not
Exclusive.
look up Son of Jor-El on OnlyFans because it's very particular. No, I don't cosplay, so it's Superman or otherwise.
Good to know. All right. Well, we are at the end point of tonight's episode. Before we do sign off, I want to thank everyone for tuning into tonight's episode of Superman Homepage Live. Thank you so much for your company. We really appreciate you joining us live. And we thank you to anyone who listens to the podcast version after the fact, the recorded version. We really appreciate the fact that you are a fan of this show. And if you are a fan of this show, give us a thumbs up right now. Share it with your friends. The greatest compliment you can do is to shoot off a text message or a SMS or an email or whatever to one of your friends to let them know about this podcast and let them know that we are live every Monday night. And we will be back next Monday on, March 20... I'm looking at the calendar. 23rd, Monday, March 23rd at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time for another edition of Superman Homepage Live. We look forward to talking with you then. Until then, be sure to check out supermanhomepage.com for all your daily news updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. Thank you to our sponsors and patrons, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, Tina Murray, and Rick and Tanya Schutzau. If you want to sponsor the show, remember, just hit the join button below on YouTube. There are different levels of membership with different levels of perks. Thank you to my co-hosts, Michael Bailey. Thank you, Michael.
Oh, pleasure as always.
And thank you, Mark.
Thank you, gentlemen.
The complete 1 hour show of tonight's episode will be available on our website at supermanhomepage.com and on our YouTube channel. If you missed it, tuned in late, want to check it all out all over again, you can do so at those locations. I'm Steve Eunice. On behalf of myself, Michael Bailey and Mark Lax, thanks for watching Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com. Good night.